Hi, good morning everybody. I'm just getting everything ready for us to make some bread rolls. So I sent a recipe out for all of you to be able to make some bread rolls. Hopefully you've got all the ingredients. I'm going to use a mixing bowl to do my mixing of my bread and my dough, my flour. I've got some milk here, a small packet of yeast, some salt and plain flour. I also have some butter. I'm going to need some butter and a cup for measuring my flour out. Also a tablespoon, which is the bigger one, and a teaspoon for smaller amounts of the ingredients. I've also just got some fresh rosemary, smells gorgeous, from the garden to make it a little bit herby, because hopefully if my bread rolls come out nicely I can have them with some pumpkin soup later. So those are the ingredients we're going to be using. I've also got a little bun tin. If we were making a bigger loaf, if you wanted to make a big loaf of bread and keep it all together, you could use a loaf tin, but today we're going to make small amounts, so you'll be able to knead them and roll like a roll shape, a bun shape yourselves. So the first thing I'm going to put in my bowl is the flour. So I'm going to use a few cups of flour. My cup's quite small, so I'm going to put, take my time, put 4 cups of flour in. So it's 1, 2, 3, and the last one is 4. Okay, next I'm going to add a little bit. So I'm going to use my teaspoon here and just put a little amount of yeast on my teaspoon. You'll be able to see just a small amount. Pop it into my mixture here. And I can keep the rest for the next time I do it. Okay, and a teaspoon, so also the same little spoon I'm going to use, measure the salt. So I'm going to put a teaspoon of salt into my bread, a little bit more into that. Okay, next I'm going to give that a little mix so the ingredient mixes together. And my spoon, I don't have a spoon, I'm going to use my spatula today, so I'm just going to give that a little mix there. Just make sure all the ingredients evens out inside the bowl. So that's what it looks like inside the bowl. I am going to next pop the milk in. So I'm going to use 1.5 cups of milk. So it's 1. It's going in. And give it a little stir. Okay, it's going in nicely. And 1.5 cup more. So fill it to the middle. It's about half. Pop that in as well. I'm going to mix that all in together. The dough. Okay, I'm going to mix it until it all comes, you know, like when we make Play-Doh and it goes into a big ball. But just before it gets to that point, I am going to cut. So I'm going to pull off a few bits of the rosemary. And I'm just going to use my little scissors and chop it into small pieces and put it into the mixture. You can use other herbs to make herby bread. You can use some oregano maybe, or some basil or parsley. You can try out different things and see what you like. Okay, I'm just going to put a few more in. It smells absolutely gorgeous, the rosemary. So pop that in, and that's in the dough, little bits here, just to give it a bit more flavour. And I'm just going to keep mixing it with my spoon until it all comes together. So I'm going to keep mixing that now. If you feel it's a bit dry, you can add a tiny bit more milk. Okay, if it's not coming together, just add a little bit more milk into your mixture and then continue mixing it all together. And I keep going, mixing that all together till it's one big ball. Okay. Oh, it's quite hard work. You need to get your muscles going to mix it. That's it. And when it's all together, let's give your spoon a little wipe off there. Roll my sleeves up. I'm going to take my rings off as well. And just sprinkle some flour on the side so my dough doesn't stick to the side when I'm rolling it out. I just sprinkle some more plain flour over the worktop. Okay, I have already put the oven on, which is the grown-up part of the job mostly, and I've put my oven on 180 to warm up so that when the bread goes in, when the mixture goes in, the oven's already nice and warm. So I'm just going to pop my mixture, it's very sticky still, onto that flour, and I'm going to knead it. So kneading is just making sure it binds all together. I'm pushing and squeezing, and you can get your fist in and pop it down. Okay, just when it spreads out, push it back together again. And I've got quite a lot of flour here, so it's going to make it quite dry. So I'm just going to move some of this flour because I don't want my dough to become too dry. Okay, so I just knead that for about 5 or 10 minutes. You give it a good knead. Okay. Oh, give you the strongest muscles, this will. It's very nice doing this actually. It's a bit like playing with the Play-Doh. I might just pop a few more bits of the rosemary inside just to make it a bit more tasty. So I'll just pop it in there and then I'll fold it back into my dough. So it's up to you how herby you want your bread rolls to be. Okay, so I'm going to keep kneading it. You do it as well for a few more minutes. If you need a sprinkle bit more flour on to stop it sticking, you can do that too. I've just done that because mine started to get a bit sticky with all the kneading. Okay, so I keep kneading it, and then you should leave your dough for about half an hour, about 30 minutes, for the yeast to set in, start rising. But because we're doing it all together today, I'm not going to leave mine to rest. I'll leave it to rest when it's in the oven. So I've just broken a piece. I'm going to break mine into about 6 bread rolls. So I'm going to make 6. So I break off a piece, get it in between the palm of my hands, and just roll it into a nice shape so it fits like the middle of your hands. Yours might be a bit smaller than mine because you've got smaller hands than me. Okay, so I'm just going to make it into a nice round shape here, and then pop it on. Actually, I'm just going to grease that tin a bit so that my bread doesn't stick into my pan. So I'm just using a little bit of oil. I'm just going to pop it in that tin, that shape of the tin. There. I'm going to do the same thing again, and you continue to do that. Do you know, I forgot to pop the butter into our mixture. So just before you add the milk, you put your butter into the mixture, which gives it a nice, will give your bread a very nice taste. Okay, and it won't be so sticky. Mine's are not going to taste as nice as yours because I forgot to add that very important ingredient. Okay, but you can make it without butter. It's probably a bit healthier making without all the butter. So I'm just done another roll, make it nice and round, pop it into the tin there, do the same thing again. You see that's a very funny shape. I'm just going to roll it, the palm of my hands again. Okay, then flatten it out a bit, make it a nice round shape. And then pop it into my tin. I'm going to do one more, and then hopefully the oven is nice and warm, and then I'll put it in the oven. Okay, so that's one more going into the tin. I'm rolling it, rolling it, rolling it, rolling it, rolling it, nice and round, and then a little squash here. When it goes in the oven, because it's got yeast in it, it will fluff up and rise and get nice and bouncy, and hopefully you'll see the colour will change and the texture of our mixture will change once we've put it in that heat in the oven. So please remember, you must do this with your grown-up, and your grown-up is the only one to touch the oven. Okay, so you need lots of adult help to make your bread or your bread rolls. Okay, so that's number 4. I've got a bit more, so I'm going to get another tin to do the rest. So I'm just going to show you, there's my rolls, and I'm going to put them in the oven now on number 180, and I'm going to leave them in there for about 15 minutes. I'm going to leave them to rest on the side for about 20 minutes so that the yeast can start working, and that's like a rising agent. It helps it to swell up. And then once 20 minutes is up, I'm going to put them in the oven for another 15 or 20 minutes and have a look at them. And then I'm going to make my pumpkin soup, and then later on I'll be able to eat my bread rolls with my pumpkin soup. Have a go, it's so much fun. Smells yummy already, and it's probably going to smell even more delicious when it's baking in the oven. So have fun, and I'll see you soon. Bye.